everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about the Lyra constellation and why it all began with Lyra. If you watched my last video, you know that I revealed that Earth and our solar system originally came from Orion and is representing the separation between divine feminine, divine masculine, or how I prefer to call it, divine body and divine mind, which leads to a disconnection from the heart. What caused the separation between divine mind or divine consciousness, the divine body and divine heart, between the separation between the masculine and feminine? It keeps our heart from fully opening and allowing us to access our spirit. Well, it all begins with Lyra. I'm going to go into a little bit of Lyra's history, but the details of it I don't see as part of my purpose. There's a lot of people who outline galactic history, who outline a lot of things about how the universe works, about consciousness, and I see more of my purpose as weaving the connections together. So if you don't know much about Lyra's history and you want to know more after this video, there's lots of Akashic readers. Debbie Solaris is someone who goes into a lot of galactic history. There's quantum hypnotist practitioners who post videos on regressions on Lyra about what those clients have experienced. So if that's something you're interested in, I definitely suggest checking that out. So if you're familiar with Lyra as a constellation, you may know that it's referred to the home of human consciousness, the home of the earliest human blueprint, and you may also know that Lyra was heavily impacted by a war with Draco reptilian species that came from another universe. I have my own history in Lyra that I've seen through my own regressions, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about. I've seen other things in meditation and hypnosis sessions where I understood that Lyra was very important, a very important constellation for me to begin my journey in this universe, because Lyra was created to evolve to complete unity easily. That's what they were designed to do, to have a unified consciousness between body, heart, and mind. And so during my regression, how it started is I was in what I called during the regression the void of Lyra, which I saw as just beautiful green energy. And now green is associated with heart energy. And it was this green energy that Lyra was created from. I also, during that regression, experienced being a being whose name was Mother of All. And I equate to being a form of Mother Nature on that planet. She was an elemental being, elven-like, but had kind of a prismed face, faceted face, like a crystal almost. They could shapeshift into different beings, different nature beings, trees, animals, and different things. And then there were other leaders who, my partner was called Father of Fire. And then there are other leaders for the other elements. And it was a very beautiful planet filled with lots of nature, trees, huge, beautiful trees. I also saw that the reptilians, when they came from another universe and offered to trade technology for resources. And so because Lyra was created for unity consciousness, they had experienced polarity, but polarity is complementary. So they hadn't experienced opposition or duality in the same way that we do now. They hadn't had experiences of deception or much violence. So you may hear other people refer to them as childlike or naive. And this is why. They just hadn't had the experience or learnings to know how to navigate deception, to know how to navigate duality. And I saw when the reptilians offered to trade, because I was seen sort of as, a leader leading the elements. We were meeting with a council on Lyra who was deciding what to do. And I saw this is where a split, more duality started to enter Lyra, because there were those souls who knew that they had enough, that their way of life was perfect the way that it was, and that they had everything that they needed, and that they were advanced in their own way, because they were advanced spiritually and elementally and through nature, their connection with nature, and had all the resources that they needed. And then there were those souls who did not think that they had enough, thought that they needed the technology that the reptilian species were offering in order to evolve. And it was even divided among the elementals that I was representing. There was a division between us as well, where me and fire felt like we had enough, and water and air did not. And then so this division, and the next scene I saw was my home completely destroyed. It burned, completely decimated. And I had a lot of elemental children that I took care of, and not knowing where they were was the next scene that I saw. And then I saw us meeting with the other elemental leaders, deciding what to do. And the person who was father of air, I'll say, but his name in the session came through as CERN, was convincing us that we needed to retaliate and fight back, convincing us that he was going to help build a machine to help fight back, and manipulating us to give some of our energy, because we're, elemental beings, give some of our energy to create a machine to fight this war. But he didn't create a machine. He created a new race of beings to fight the war. And there's a hypnosis practitioner who has videos about these beings who come through in her session. They're called Alucard beings. Later, there was a planet that was attacked, that my partner, who was father of fire, was helping to relocate people from this planet. And when he was relocating people from this planet, found out about these beings that were created from our energy, which we did not agree with. And so we decided to leave Lyra. We went to the Council of Lyra and told them that we were leaving. They said, you can't leave, because who's going to help us rebuild? And we were basically like, well, it's too late for that. You lost that option with the decisions, your choices that you've made, for us to stay, and it's not up to you, because we can choose whatever we want. So we took as many of our elemental children. We rescued as many of the Alucard beings that we could, who were still in facilities where they were created. Many of these were kind of early iterations of these creations, and relocated them to different places. So that was my experience on Lyra. And many people have similar memories, similar regressions, where they remember the trauma of being on Lyra. Now, what I've also seen from traveling to higher realms and seeing beings that my soul is connected to, one of those that I call the spinners, they spin the threads of time, space, and dimensions in the 10th dimension. And in mythology, they're very similar to what you hear called the Hands of Fate, or the Three Fates, or the Morai, or the Norns, although they would say that their work doesn't have much to do with fate. And then connected to them are what I call the weavers. They're weaving together these threads of time, space, and dimension to create universes, to create planets and experiences. And so what I saw there when I was exploring to my connection to a soul that I work with was that there was an imbalance in one of the weavers that led to a rift in the universe. And so now at things that are happening in other dimensions are reflected in our dimension in different ways. So depending on your point of perception, the events are going to look different, look like they unfolded differently, but they're all part of the same event throughout time and space. So what I saw there was a rift was created in our universe. And this rift is what led to the reptilians being able to enter our universe and instigate a war in Lyra. And I also saw there that this war in Lyra had massive domino effects throughout the galaxy and led to an imbalance in Lyra that led to an imbalance in the galaxy that was unexpected, that started the separation in consciousness in Lyra that spread throughout the galaxy. So if Lyra was created to embody a balanced consciousness, a divine consciousness, and when these reptilians infiltrated and offered to trade technology for resources, this created this duality in Lyra's consciousness. It divided its inhabitants, and they didn't know how to navigate that. They didn't know how to come back from that, how to reunify, nor did they have the chance because they were in a war. And then because of this war, Lyrans fled to other constellations across the galaxy, finding new homes. But the trauma came with them. Not only did it come with them, it lived in their souls. And this experience of their consciousness being ripped apart and dividing their unity consciousness. But it also spread the war across the galaxy, as some who left Lyra were followed by the Draco reptilian species and the Lyrans that sided with them. And this is how the separation between divine mind, divine body, and divine heart started to spread through the galaxy. And this is part of why so many of us here on Earth have a strong connection to Lyra, because we are still learning how to come back into union within ourselves and to heal this trauma from Lyra, and why it's so painful for many Lyran starseeds to remember this trauma, because within their heart they remember what it's like to come into unity consciousness and to be able to access it easily and to have the purity of consciousness without agenda. So thanks for watching. I'll link some things below if you're interested in learning more about Lyra, if you're not familiar with it. I'm just making these videos as I feel called to. How it's coming together for me is that I feel the need that I need to see something. So today I saw a little bit about Lyra and I was like, okay, so I need to talk about Lyra. Other constellations may come into my awareness to talk about, and I'll be posting those when they do. If you enjoyed this video or if it resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share.